And we're back. So, you see the name, or the character. I'm here with Andross. Say what's up.
Hello.
Obviously, Andross is arguably the best pot in the world and probably the best pot in EU. So, I wanted to get him on here to share his opinions. Before we even get into Pot had literally like an essay of changes. A bunch of, we could agree it was a rework. What do you, besides, obviously whether he's worse or better, how do you even feel about the idea of reworking the character like 3 years into the game? Obviously, a shock when you first read the notes. I want to hear your experience even looking at it, right?
I was like honestly in disbelief that they actually did it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even. I just saw the Podbuster armor and there was no like thought in my mind. I theorized that maybe Podbuster would lose throw imble because now it has armor and a bunch of other stuff. Never in my wildest dreams I could have seen that move from them. Honestly, it was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
And I feel like two ways. One, like my effort of grinding the character was like suddenly
So,
banished
yeah.
from like one day to another.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to the rework because it is true that I lost some matches because some execution errors on like
Of course.
basic Oki that other characters have without any like additional execution barriers, and that was frustrating. But at the same time, it was something I signed up for while playing the character. Like it's my decision to play this character, so that execution is part of like the job description. So in a way, it's on me for picking the character. Like
Of course.
I signed up for that. No, it's so like I have mixed feelings, mostly negative because yeah,
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
of all that effort.
Yeah.
Gone basically to waste. Not to waste 100% because there's still stuff of the old pot, and the general game plan is more or less the same. But yeah, and one thing like I'll go to the specifics, but I think most like BNB combos look very ugly. Like outside of
Yeah.
being worse or better, they feel unnatural because changes were made like just on a functional level, not on a design level, so things looks weird. Like the 6K tumble to combo hit tackle looks like very out of
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
The Garuda projectile hit stop launch kit, everything looks off place just
Looks
because.
new. It just looks totally different.
Yeah, no, and it goes, in my opinion, against the fantasy of the character. It has like no, I'll say the thing, it has no impact.
Yeah.
Like it just, it goes so fast.
Yeah.
It's jarring to look at, in my opinion.
Of course. And, I kind of want to ask you, so I made a video recently about if this game being, is it too baby mode? And what I meant by that is it seems like it's wrong to change a character just because they want to make them more accessible to, the rest of the like the rest of the audience, And it seems like with Pot, to play him, at a lower level was easy, right? Because I guess he
Yeah.
was, people didn't lab know what to do, etc. But once you got to that barrier to reach, kind of like where you and like like Adam are, or sorry, a boy, you got to do the Karas, and like you said, you messed up like basic Oki situations at times, and there's so much that went into it, and with the patch, a bunch of Potemkin players, whether before they even talked about whether he was nerfed or buffed, it was the conversation of, yo, like this is unfair, right? Like all the time I spent learning the execution for this and
Yes.
this, it just vanished, and it feels, miserable, kind of like you said. Like it just feels wrong. Like even looking at his combos now, it just looks like, no impact. It looks weird, right? It looks wonky. It's really weird how just this late into the game they finally decided to pull the trigger on it. But do you think that maybe this newer version of him, before we even jump into the changes, do you think maybe this newer version of him gives him more identity, like more character identity? Like maybe you can now differentiate the players playing the character more, or do you think it just makes him like they numbed him down so easy now without the Karas? It's just like he's so straightforward, if that makes sense. Like what do you think?
Not going into the specifics, ironically, I think it might have more player expression just for the fact that there are some RPS situations that you just have to like high roll and go for hard reads, and that inherently has like player expression. But like combo structure, I think that's like a bit too simplified in my opinion. There's some cool stuff. Blue White Assault, I think, is my favorite change. That is
Yes.
sick.
Yes, that's really cool. I remember
Uh,
seeing a mod of that. Like before you
yes,
guys
yes.
changed, I remember someone made a mod of like pot with like blue and like orange wild assault, so it's kind of funny that like he actually has it now. But yeah.
In the sense, like I was pretty lost when the patch came out. I wasn't like too sure how to approach the character, and I watched Fab stream,
Hmm.
and he always like plays very different to
Yeah.
everyone else, and it was a bit like reassuring that there might be like future to the character outside of my initial impressions on how I felt about the rework, because he
Yeah.
seems to be having a good time. He won a tournament like 2 days after the rework came out, and that might be because people aren't familiar with new pot. We'll have to see how that develops.
Yeah.
But it was reassuring that there was something of the character.
Yeah.
I still like after playing a bit, I still have some grievances with the rework. I still find something frustrating on how he
Of course.
plays now, but I don't think it's unsavable. I think
Yeah.
it can be saved.
Of
I
course.
won't pretend like this is a concept doomed from the start.
Yeah.
It feels bad, but I'm not opposed to relearning the character.
Of course.
I like the character, and it's more combos to laugh. To be quite
Yeah.
honest, at the end of the last patch, I was like pretty bored of like not having stuff to laugh outside of like matchup specific stuff,
Yeah.
like IBs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So having a whole new character to laugh, it's not the end of the world on itself, if
Yeah.
you ask me.
Yeah, and let me ask, kind of going back to the baby mode discussion, do you think they dumbed them down too much? Because on top of taking away the Karos, they actually changed his inputs as well. So they, for example, I know that the flick before was a DP motion, correct? And now
No,
it's,
they
or
it was half circle back.
half circle,
And now
okay.
it's,
And now
on
it's
S button,
2-1-4.
and now it's in the K.
Yeah, now it's a 2-1-4. So I know they changed around his inputs. I'm guessing they did that so it's easier for players not to get like mixed up, or try to do an input and it switches to another input on accident, right?
There was one specific input that was really like easy to mess up. If you wanted to like micro walk 2K and Kara flick for whatever reason,
Yeah.
that had a really nasty tendency of getting an HPV.
I see.
So in that sense, I understand, because there was like micro walk into, and especially on the S button, if you did it like too fast, you could get accidentally get heavily, which I agree that change is honestly fair
Yeah.
and good. I have nothing like against that change in particular. I actually like the new HPV input
Yeah.
more than the double 236.
Okay. And I guess before we actually head into the changes, I'll tack the first, kind of the main change that stands out outside of the Karas is obviously, as we said earlier, Blue Wild Assault. How? So talking to a boy before, he believed Pot was only functional because he was balanced around White Wild Assault. He believed like Pot without it was terrible, but now he has Blue. So with this current Pot, how important is Blue Wild Assault to his kit now?
I would say like extremely important, because like mid-screen RPS on 6K,
Yeah.
if you don't present Wild Assault, it's pretty bad for pot unless you do like super hard reads.
Yeah.
Because like if you just like jump or backdash, you get hit by a flick,
Yeah.
and that gives no okay. We return to neutral, and I personally believe that his neutral got worse, because I personally like to use 5K and sometimes 2P as preemptive neutral buttons, but they increase the active frames as a like idea to buff them, but the move's total duration is so high now that it's like very clunky to use this as a preemptive button. It's with punishable now. It was like at the perfect sweet spot of being active enough for people dash blocking to run into it, and not being actually with punishable and reaction, unless you were like super cracked, and now this gets with punished by accident all the time, and I don't like that. So like the mid-screen situation, I think it overall got worse, and I think he needs to present Blue Wild Assault on mid screen in particular to actually be scary. As to how it affects, like I'm not feeling the absence of White Wallace that much
Yeah.
because the matchup it was more important was like Asuka, and now I can flick everything
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Axel. And I think in the Axel matchup the hit tackle changes are like super nice because more often than not, like either you weren't too close for hit tackle to connect, or he was too close and then you were punishable. Now pretty much every time you hit someone or they block in the air hit tackle, it's plus. So
Yeah.
like
Oh,
I
really?
think
Every
that it's
time?
on like point blank and with FD.
Oh, okay.
So like it's a lot easier for it to be plus on block now.
Got you. Got you. Got
Which
you.
so the rework to flick and hit tackle makes playing against zoners a bit easier without War Assault. Like I agree with those changes, especially since flick the hurtbox from flick is now much better.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're less likely to get clipped.
What about, so out of all the changes, because again, I haven't pulled up, and it's just literally an essay. What are the most important changes to realize with this rework? Let's start with the positives, okay? Before we go into the negatives, you already mentioned that his neutral got worse, but let's listen to the positives. What are the most positive changes that Pot got with this most recent patch?
I wouldn't even feel right saying that because it pretty much happened with all the cast, but his access to damage is like really and meter actually is really high.
Yep.
Because like now any hit from if you are at the correct spacing, I'll go over any hit is a bunch of damage and meter, which is I would argue it's more important because like the next if I open the person with 50 meter, the next hit will kill after a buster.
Yeah.
Like 100%. He has access to damage is now more like universal from more starters.
More consistent.
Yeah, that exactly. It's more consistent.
Gotcha.
I think his corner pressure is a bit better, mainly because you can't clash with Gabriel anymore.
Yeah.
So his offense against some TP characters is better. I haven't like loved it 100%. But it's still a bit awkward because if you're trying to space the DP, you might not be close enough to get in range of Buster.
No.
Especially against like Leo, against Kai, maybe Soul and Chip, it might be possible for both things to be true. But yeah, like I think his corner pressure is a lot scarier now.
Due to the no pushback?
Yeah, no pushback, and he has a couple more options to keep you on your toes. Like if you're not paying attention, you block out blue wild assault, and that's super scary.
Yeah.
To strike into Garuda. I've seen Fab do this. Okay. This.
I see.
Like there's more stuff than just Garuda into micro walk and Buster. It forces people to react differently to the pressure, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
In the corner, mid screen, I think it's like, yeah, if you just hold up back, you're essentially neutral, and then we go back to the thing I said about his neutral being worse. Another positive change, well, the flick change, I think is like for anti-zoning is great, and as a like preemptive poke is also great. But yeah, what they did to the regular flick on hit, I'm not sure if I vibe with it.
Yeah, I hear you. You mentioned his neutral got worse, but what else? I guess, I think with this pot, from what I'm hearing around, especially on Twitter, there's more negatives than positives. So what are you already mentioned the flick situation being worse on hit. What are the oh no situation or changes? Like dang, I know like back Mega Fist got changed. I know obviously, the command grab doesn't, it goes like farther, it's like just standing in as armor, right? But I know there's some more negative changes, so I'm curious to your opinion on what makes this character worse.
First, like the first thing is like Yappa Buster goes further, but it doesn't go far enough. So like baiting burst at some distances give me like very bad punishes, and well before I got a full PV punish, like sometimes you barely even get like a 2k to D.
Yeah.
There are some distances, for example against Nago.
Yeah.
If I block the Blood Rage pop at a certain distance, I literally get no punish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even a 2p hit tackle. Also, I think that they buff hit tackle for this purpose, but overall he's like confirms from light attacks. Grounded light attacks go worse. I like to do a lot like this, and since I don't have the Kara, that barely confirms anymore. It works with hit tackle because they buffed it,
Yeah.
which is nice. But that confirm in particular was really good to like ensure aversive damage, or just a good chunk of damage from a P starter because Gigantor deals a ton of damage.
Yeah.
Another thing, like they set out to rework like most of his K and P buttons, but I think I nutted it a little earlier, but everything now has so much total duration that he feels extremely awkward to like throw a preemptive button in neutral now. Like and Roundster, I think it got infinitely worse because like before you could throw like a 2k and be ready to anti-air, but now it has so much recovery. You usually don't recover in time to anti-air. 2p is lower, so now it trades with Force Slash. It also has no reward. Like I think you also don't have the threat of Garabuster now in Roundster, so you basically have to press like 5p and that's it, or walk back, or in general like play very passively depending on the round start.
Yeah.
Because there is no threat of like a big damage option in round start unless you are go full cycle and like hit tackle, which like your options in round start are like either high commit or no reward, or like just don't play round start straight up depending on against the character you're running at.
Okay. What about back Mega Fist? Because I'm also hearing his defense got worse. So talk to me a bit about that.
Yeah, like I think they took the route of nerfing BMF because of I think it was maybe what they did to Melee Scalpel.
Yeah.
That was like an annoying move in for everyone. While doing so, they also they gave him like a 7 frame 2K to boost his defense somewhere else. My issue with that is like 2K has almost the same range as Buster, and 2K has a ton of recovery. So anything that also beats Buster beats 2K.
Yeah.
So you're almost never like incentivized to press this, in my opinion at least. And navigating neutral against some characters, like you can get easily clipped by trying to do this. Like the other day I played Slash, I got hit by a dolphin while doing a Mega Fist.
Yeah.
Like horizontal dolphin, mind you,
Yeah.
no, not the vertical one. And like the box on Mega Fist and both Mega Fist is like really bad now. And since there is no care anymore, the reward on normal hit of this is nothing. No, you get no Oki from that. Well, before you got a Space Gorilla, which was not ideal, but it was something. And in the corner, if it not only is worse to throw the move, it's also worse in hit because you also get nothing here.
Yeah.
So they got reduced from tools to navigate neutral defense to mostly very situational combo tools, and like you can sometimes throw it in neutral to local stuff, but it's not like as common, and you can get like easily clipping.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. That's no longer the case because you get hit by the cubes while you're going down. So it makes like the it makes navigating defense and neutral on characters without projectiles a lot more awkward.
Yeah, yeah. So would you agree basically that they made his neutral and defense worse, but when he gets in and he gets his turn started, they made him scarier?
Yeah, a lot of damage. Like they increased the buster damage. They gave him access to new routes, even mid screen. Like before, at this distance, you basically got nothing. Now you can spend full wild assault to get stuff like this going on.
Yeah.
Like region routing is really fun.
Yeah.
So like his combos mid screen got better, his damage got better, his access to meter got better because of the wild assault. So like basically I've gotten a lot of games where I just like landed 2 straight hits in neutral, like a far slash and then a normal hit, then a slide hit, and the next interaction killed. Which I don't think it's the most engaging gameplay loop, if you ask me. Like I think it's frustrating for everyone involved to just be like a high damage machine that if you put me on block, it's not like super doom. There's still stuff, but I don't think like they made him. I think very very annoying to fight now.
Yeah.
Like as explosive as Layer last patch, and I don't think like sacrificing neutral and defense for that kind of experience is like enjoyable for anyone. Like
Yeah.
not even not for me, not for my opponent. You can TOD Emilia from like one cool slash of risk and then a buster.
Yeah, yeah.
Very wild.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. They, they reworked. It seems like they reworked all of his buttons, like you said. Like they feel like laggy and like clunky to use.
Yeah, I hate the change on Hammerfall on block. It's minus 17 on block. So if you use it like a combo ender, like I don't care if it's punishable on block or not. It's supposed to be that way, especially since they buffed Hammer from break. So uh, that's I'll go back to that idea, but like my main issue is that if you use like Hammerfall on combos, it feels like super unresponsive after.
Yeah,
Everything feels so like I'm playing underwater. Like everything has so much more recovery on a character that's already slow and doesn't have like the greatest buttons.
yeah,
So it feels awkward to pilot more than like commenting on how strong it is. It just feels bad and it looks bad in my opinion.
got you.
And one of the things I think they want to incentivize is like using Hammerfall Break on defense.
Yeah,
But I think it's like enforcing me to use more armor on my defense is really awkward because some characters have really good tools to break armor, or if you have meter and react, you break the armor with the RC, and that's
Yeah.
a 100% starter. And that feels terrible. So that means I can't use armor when the opponent has meter.
yeah,
And it's really hard to use armor against some characters effectively.
yeah,
So the direction they like, I I, I personally like I'm Fuzzy Mushroom Buster
yeah.
at every corner because
Yeah,
it deals so much damage now that the risk reward is pretty much always in my favor.
yeah.
So that direction of defense, I do not agree. I have to test, but it feels niche at best using Hammer for Break as an avatar tool.
Yeah. It I don't know, it kind of seems like they just changed the wrong it seems like Pot didn't need better off. Like he wasn't already struggling on offense. So the fact
No,
that they just made this offense better and then took away everything else is feels kind of bad, correct?
it feels bad to play because like it feels really inconsistent. You sometimes like just lose the round or win a round without like feeling you had much input into the outcome of the match.
No.
It's like, wow, I landed one buster and I took 80% of his health.
No.
And it's not the most exciting uh, thing to play around, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah, no. It just seems like his offense. Like again, the no pushback on Garuda is very funny. I will not lie. But the command grab having armor. How do you think that's his biggest buff? Because I mean, that's the in the trailer that they showed for the characters. That's what they were obviously trying to show, right? That was his big change. So would you agree that's his best buff?
Nah, I think Blue also is still bigger.
Blue also.
because uh,
Yeah.
because like the only it sounds like an oversimplification and I'm not
Yeah.
downplaying it by any means, but like armor and buster, like it being only in the active frames works to beat throw protection
Yeah.
and on space situations of a barrier. Like if you're not in the first grab box of like the first frames of grab box,
Yeah.
you armor through attack, and then the full command grab extends, and then so it, but like regular garrote pressure is still the same. Avara Buster is mostly the same. Like armor doesn't like
Yeah.
come into play that much if you are like pressing it on defense. Like I've had some fun interactions, like waking up with Buster, the DC fish hitting me, extending the active frames, and DC running into it.
Yeah.
It sometimes beats Avara and disincentivize smashing against spot, but that wasn't like a great idea to begin with, because if you get frame trapped by a 2H or a 2S, you die. So even though like it's neat, it gives like a new layer to the offense. I don't think it's like the biggest game changer. I think Blue Wild Hole is more important to the overall gameplay now.
And how do the pod changes affect your game plan in like particular?
Mainly neutral. Like I like to against cheap Geo Milia, like character without the greatest decisions to press like 5K to
Yeah.
be and then like walking forward. I can no longer do that like comfortably without getting with punish anymore. So it just feels like more standard grappler play game style, like
Yeah.
just walking forward, trying to throw one button or two. Well, like it just feels like I'm a lot less. It feels a lot less consistent than it was before, and like
Yeah.
since neutral is worse and defense is worse, I'm put on defense more often than before, and it's just an overall like frustrating.
Yeah.
So like you're more than before, your incentive is to high roll on defense,
Yeah.
and again, that's not the most consistent game plan there is, to be
Yeah.
quite frank.
Yeah. I noticed though it's weird because they wanted to make his neutral worse, but then they buffed his walk speed, I believe, right? Or they
No, the tension game.
oh the tension
on
again.
walk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's also to incentivize like walking forward and standard grappler
Yeah.
neutral. Walk the opponent to the corner, but I'm not sure if that works that well in this
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think there's any potential that he could be more fun though? Like, is there any part of you that somewhat likes the way that Arxis is going with Potemkin?
I just really had a lot of fun because I changed my mindset of like trying to play that before.
Yeah.
And got a bit more like silly with trying to go for high rates and that kind of stuff. But not sure. I feel like he's more inconsistent, and to me that's less fun.
Yeah.
Like there's some matches that I just feel like I lost because I guessed wrong. Like more often than before. Like that is like very natural in this game and fighting games. But I guess I'll rephrase it. I tend to feel like I'm losing on my own offense a lot because I need to do more hard reads
Yeah.
and more hard reads on defense. Like it's not consistent, and that is very frustrating if you're trying to take the game like super seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you just want to like play for fun, it's whatever. I played a little bit of Street Fighter while I was waiting for the patch. I had a lot of fun because I was just like doing like TK SPDs on my own wake up to reach shimmies, and of course that's not consistent,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, no, I hear you. With Pot, you briefly mentioned matchups. Even in the matchups you haven't played, but what are like some matchups off the top of your head where you just like think it could just be doomed, like impossible?
Johnny's pretty bad.
Why?
Like
Why, Johnny?
I have no idea if it's worse or better.
Yeah.
It was already really fucking really bad.
Yeah, really bad.
Because like if the Johnny played to RPS constantly RPS you, like doing ball deal and all that kind of stuff, you dealt more damage, and you often like just they end up like losing themselves. You had no input in that. But if they just play like to whip punish you, it's basically impossible to play the matchup. It's so hard. So and he basically is the same. So I think that's still possible worst matchup.
Yeah.
I have to see how Gil Lewis is. It was like really bad last season.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But the main thing was like you couldn't use back Mega Fist in defense. But now that is gone, there is nothing like in particular I could say like it sucks about the matchup. So I might give it a shot to play it in the near future.
Yeah.
Like Typhoon cancels against armor might be really bad, and the counter hit recovery on Slyhead might also suck.
Oh yeah, they did do that. Yeah.
Having better reward on normal hits is very big against Gold Lewis, because one of the main things that matchup had was like neutral was even-ish, but the quality of hits compared, like I got like a 5H and that's it.
Yeah.
And if I get clipped while trying to do that with a Typhoon, I basically lost the round. So even though like the possibility of each other hitting each other was like even,
Yeah.
it was not the same kind of hit. That match that might be worse because Chip got overall stronger.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that is definitely worse because this button was like the button against Chip. and now it can get so easily with punished that just the nerf. Well, yeah, the change to this bottom makes that much worse, and Chip got stronger, so
Yeah.
that one might be them. Jacob might be easier mm, because like the flick is better. So
Yeah.
RPS, like the hurtbox of flick, the projectile of flick is better. So RPSing in neutral against minions might be easier. Her reward on 2D, if I'm not mistaken, is worse.
Worse. Yeah.
So like getting your 6P punished by a 2D, it's not the end of the world. Like I can see that matchup being a bit better.
Okay.
And let me see if I can. Some might be a bit easier this patch. No, not 100% sure. Those are the ones that, like immediately come to my chip. Well, nothing that was like
Yeah.
no matchup change in a way that was like good before and now bad.
Yeah.
Batman might be a lot harder, but probably still good for pot because like Black Megafish made Batman's defense straight up dysfunctional. Like it was very very sad. Like if you BMF after 2H, there was no way to stop it. It was pretty absurd.
Yeah.
But now that Flick is buff, that matchup, it's I think it's still pot favored.
Yeah. And I guess one of the last things I wanted to do is I wanted to put, so obviously I am making a video soon on the comment section of one of my posts, but you did leave a message and I kind of wanted to put on the screen to kind of summarize. I think this kind of summarized a lot what you're saying. You
Yeah,
basically talked
definitely.
about they made pots, so they made a pot extremely awkward to pilot. In some situations, the character's kit is straight dysfunctional. Pot can't take throw out of any of his normals on opponents standing FD, and I'm gonna assume that's because the 6K is Kara being gone. You can barely do it if point blank close slash. Flick's reward on normal hit is non-existent, and that's because the knockdown changed, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, you kind of just take the hit. Space Girders gives you no mix because it's not plus enough to let you walk in a pile bunker range or pile bunker. Sorry, Potemkin Buster range. Oh my god, dude,
Yeah, that happens. That happens.
Slayer is on my mind. Okay, Gruder Ward on backdash catch mid screen is also extremely. Oh, did that get changed?
Yeah, like backdash after 6K. Like,
Oh wait, let me tab.
close.
Let me tab. Sorry, go ahead.
Like
Oh, okay.
it's so fast. Like I think you can get close to Shocky, but it's so fast that it makes like playing around it like there is war, but it's make playing around it like extremely awkward. Like if you're not charging, if you're not expecting someone to get hit, and you're not charging it, you basically get no Oki because like, by the time you react to the hit, the,
Yeah.
there's not enough time to hammer full.
Question. But you mentioned Pot's offense got better, but it seems like it
Like
actually got. Oh, you did. Oh, okay.
in mid screen, it's definitely worse because like the reward and normal hit of stuff is worse. But
In
like
the
in the
corner, you
corner,
think
I
it's
think
better?
it's scarier. Yeah, I think it's a bit scarier in the corner.
Okay. Even well, I guess it depends. I think with Blue Wild Assault, I guess I can see how it's better. But like for example, like you mentioned, if you do like close slash Garuda, it seems like a lot of spaces where you would be able to do the Kara, it seems like you can't do that anymore. Correct?
Like from here,
Yeah.
I think like from here you could get a buster from the previous match.
Yeah. But
And now
obviously
like you
not
have
new.
to
Yeah,
use
not anymore. Yeah.
no I don't think you can do it anymore. Like as I said before, it makes some punishes extremely awkward, or like burst, some like really minus moves. It's also like it's not entirely like full of negatives. Like there's stuff that's easier to punish or to like abar it with new buster. That's it's not like 100% doom.
Yeah.
There's stuff that's better, but not being able to punish burst, it feels really bad. Like
Oh yeah.
you made a space burst is basically like take the hard knockdown and
Yeah.
RPS for the next mix. It's not great.
Yeah. Going back to your message. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I I have to say I was a bit harsh on that message because like I didn't have like enough time
Yeah,
with the
of course,
character
of
yet.
course.
But some of my opinions are still the same. Still think his neutral is worse. His defense is worse,
Yeah.
and
Neutral
uh,
worse.
yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Aside from 2K sounded good on paper, but has so much recovery now that you're better off pressing Potemkin Buster almost every time on defense. Back Megafist is gone as a defensive tool, so overall Pot's defense got a lot worse. Despite all these negatives, Pot has more damage as well as easier access to it, so he can absolutely rob people. Which is like you mentioned at the start of the video.
Yeah.
More access damage, I guess better robbery factor due to his corner offense being a little better. But yeah, it's just he's a grappler now, right? He just out rewards you over and over again, but in his neutral, his defense, right? It's
Yes.
worse. So I guess some people I can see, like now, like that we've discussed the changes, I can kind of see how some people are liking the direction they're going with Pot, because I think some people just like this archetype of just pure grappler.
Yeah, it's definitely valid if people like this better than
Yeah.
the previous spot, especially people that like didn't grind execution. Like that's like a 100% valid take to have to like this spot better. I have nothing against the people that like this spot. I personally find it like more inconsistent to execute the game plan, and I don't personally enjoy that.
Yeah.
At least on a competitive level, like if I'm just like goofing around and trying to do hard reads, it's fun. I won't lie, but feeling that some matches are like outside of my control, feels rough.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I still can't believe they decided to rework him this late into the game. But it seems interesting. Again, like you said, it's kind of definitely feels worse, but at least you have stuff to lab, and maybe there's some tech out there that will help calm the storm a bit. So yeah,
I think I need to like reassess how I approach both defense and neutral.
yeah,
Because maybe part of my frustration is that I'm not like approaching both things in the correct way.
yeah,
I'm just like trying to play the way I did before,
yeah.
and maybe that's a source of frustration. I'll give the character some time, but like
Yeah.
it's rough.
Yeah.
Like that, but playing Leo feels feels like a better option by the day.
Yeah. Let me ask you this though. So it was funny because I believe with Adam the last time I asked him at the end of the video, well, what buffs would you want for Pot? But now that he's a completely different character, and you're seeing that the way that they're balancing him. So like you said, worse neutral, worse defense, but kind of focusing on the grappler archetype.
Mm-hmm.
What buffs would you even want for this version of Potemkin that don't sound unrealistic, like buffing his neutral or buffing, his defense? Like, what can help him, I guess, in your opinion, with how they're balancing?
I would say that it doesn't have to be all of these moves naturally, but some of 2P, 5K, 2K, or Slidehead need to have less recovery.
Yeah.
Because, like, he feels so awkward to play because they increase the recovery of all of these options at the same time.
Yeah.
So there's the only non like 100% non-committal option in neutral is this.
Yeah.
Because this is with punishable. This is harder because it has bigger range. This is with punishable. Every normal, including this, is in the realm of being with punishable.
Yeah.
So like them increasing the recovery on everything makes the character feel like really awkward. Well, as I said before, really awkward to pilot. So like any of these normals, even if they want 2P, which is the one that gives less reward, to have less recovery, I think that would be a good approach to have, like, because I think they wanted us to use this button as I did 5K before, like a preemptive poke.
Gotcha.
But it's so bad even on block that it still feels bad to use, even if it has good range, because like in neutral it has no reward on normal hit, which is not the end of the world. But like on block it's mashable. If you gatling into this, it's -8 on block, like which is honestly insane to me that a normal that I thought was very bad got worse.
Yeah.
So like that would be like my first suggestion. Like some of the buttons you could press in neutral to have less recovery. One of all of those 4 options
Yeah.
Um, Other stuff like it's fine if they wanted to get rid of the Herblix retraction on Megafist,
Mhm.
but I think they need to take back the reward and hit on any of the versions because
Yeah.
like doing an already risky option in the corner and getting no reward and returning to neutral for it is
Feels
like
terrible.
it's like having a worse DP
Yeah. Yeah.
essentially. So like if they wanted to go in the direction of having BMF not be back MF not be such a frustrating tool to deal with, at least they could give it back the direction because get the reward. Because
Yeah.
like with it, if we take these two or these 2K to the previous patch, it would have been amazing because you basically got hard knockdown from spaced back Megafist, which was not the case before. You had two
Yeah.
RPS, but now that it gives this weird tumble, like this 2K is also meaningless in that specific scenario. So
Yeah.
I'm like at least give the on the ground properties to back Megafist back. So like
Okay.
other stuff. The blue white assault range is very frustrating to play with because I'm not sure if you remember how the first iteration of white wild assault was for pod that had no range.
Yeah. Shorter. Yeah.
So they buffed the range on the second iteration, and now that it's changed to blue white assault, it has the same range as the first iteration.
No,
So not
oh,
only
really?
not only it feels really awkward because you were used to that spacing, but well, that's not the end of the world because you just get used to it again. But I don't think it works that well with bots buttons because they are so large
Oh, I
that this
see.
happens a lot. So I honestly feel like I'm playing Viking
Yeah.
or old
Uh,
Viking for that matter.
yeah.
So this is one of I a boy also commented on the video on one of my tweets. This is also like a big source of frustration because you sometimes like do get get this, and depending on the spacing, if you get a deep, that doesn't combo, so
Oh, I
you, you
see.
you you go back to having to rely on this, which is no reward mid
No
screen.
reward. Yeah.
Like the range for Blue Wild Assault, I'll like maybe not to the Wild Assault range, but give it some more so it's a bit more consistent. Like getting out with punish into being minus on hit because I have to armor for break feels terrible to be quite
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it seems like it's weird because his blue also goes shorter than the rest, but it seems like he's so focused on like he's so centered around blue wall assault now. Like I said, just a true grappler. Again, like you said, that kind of depends on the audience. Like there are definitely people out there that will enjoy this version of pot, but it seems like the more competitive versions or competitive, players like yourself and a boy, and I'm not sure how the Japanese players feel, but it's every other higher level pot I've heard from has just bagged on this pot and said, "Yep, nope, like this, nope, like we're about to play like Slayer or like Dizzy or something like,
Yeah, it's fair. Like I think it can get better with time, but like the issues on defense and neutral, I don't think that's gonna get better with time. Like
Yeah,
maybe we found stronger offense. I found some silly stuff to get like a BRC cross up JS against taller characters.
yeah,
Um, so there's some fun offense that can be explored. But yeah, it's just more offense. Like
more offense, which
that 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 doesn't solve like being put on block by some characters or just having a
it's
terrible
not the help he needed. His offense was
yeah,
already fine,
exactly,
right? It's like distribute it to
exactly.
the other parts of his kit. Don't just make it better and then get rid of everything.
Yeah, and like one of the classic complaint like it was it's weird because it's a change like aimed to people that weren't as good at an execution and maybe newer players but I think he got like extremely toxic to fight for newer players as well, so it's like a very weird change. Like I
Yeah,
don't think a newer player like playing cheap will enjoy getting killed by two busters
Yeah,
You know, like I don't think that's a very like fun experience if
yeah.
you are learning the game.
Yeah, of course, and that's why I brought up the like whole like baby mode conversation because it seems like the characters that you had to lab against and figure stuff out are the characters that like again, like without knowing what they're doing, just seem broken. For example, like that's why they nerfed Bedman's Pressure. That's why Oscar got nerfed. You see the Zato nerfs. You see,
Yes.
like these characters that Emilia, I guess, right? These characters that you gotta spend some time. It seems like the game kind of just wanted to, make it just hand the answers to the players, so they kind of do stuff like this. So it's sad he got caught in the crossfire. I know there's some again, like I said, I know there's some people out there that like this version, but it seems mostly negative for the most part. So I guess we just have to wait and see what they do until the next patch. I mean, I know the developers mentioned that he knows people are unhappy with the current state of the game, so some changes are going to be coming. I doubt he'll get reworked back because it seems like they switched his Wild Assault and gave him an essay of changes. So I doubt they'll just take it all back. But
Yeah,
hopefully
that's
they'll make it at least a little more bearable to play with him on the neutral and defensive end of things.
yeah. Again, I don't think the concept is doomed. I'm not like I'm not going to talk like please revert the changes because I don't think that's on the table,
Yeah,
and it's not unreasonable. Like I think this probably took a lot of work to get this
yeah,
rework going, and well, it's the
of
vision they
course,
want for the character, but it needs some help.
of course.
And I this version of the character, I think it might or can be stronger than the previous version, but I think it's more frustrating to fight against and to play with. So I mean that in that sense, I don't think the rework was that successful. Like, yeah, that I'm excited to see what they do with the patch.
Yeah.
I hope they they
Yeah.
make some adjustments to the bot
Fix
because
your boy.
yeah, and I'll try to keep playing him. Not sure if I'll join in many tournaments. I dislike how volatile the state of the game is right now. So I think I might just chill and try to lab either a bit more bot or Leo in the meantime. But Leo's also bugged, so
Yeah, Layla is, but we'll have to wait for that little mini patch to come out so we can actually have him not be bugged. But yeah, no, that was great. There's just oh man, there was so much to talk about. His just I mean the it's I can't get over it. 3 years into the game about they decide to just flip the switch. It's so funny. Um, but yeah,
Rambo was also pretty wild.
yeah, it was crazy. But like we said, we'll have to wait till the next patch. But I believe that is everything. I will put Andross's Twitter on the screen. I don't believe you stream. I don't.
I don't I do it, but like really like irregularly. Like
Okay, well, I'll put your Twitch on the screen as well. I'll put your Twitter and your Twitch on the screen, your Discord as well, all the socials, all the good stuff. I appreciate you coming on.
thank you for having me as well.
Yeah, no, it was a pleasure. Thank you. And yeah, I hope maybe this can help. I know a lot of people don't really know what pot does because again, that's why he probably got nerfed in the first place. Like that's, but you know, hopefully this can help shed some light on it. I know his changes are pretty hard to understand, so again, hopefully this helps. But yeah, no, thank you, Andross. Again, his socials will be on the screen. Go check him out. Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Until next time.